Before coming here, I graduated in France a 3-year degree in political science. And then after this degree, I decided to come here to do some volunteering. And I was living in the north of France alone because my family comes from Normandy. So I did my university training there and in Université de Lille 2. And that's it, I guess. I chose this project to work in an after-school context because before coming here I wanted to do a volunteering, but mainly as well for an experience to work with kids, because I might want later to work with kids as a therapist with kids. I wanted to make sure that this is a field that I would like to do. So this project was very appealing to me because as well it took place in Italy, which is a country I was always attracted to. And so I could work with kids, make my own experience with them, to see what it is to work with kids, if I like it, and I do like it. My expectation toward this project was, of course, to be kept busy by the activities of the volunteering project that we have with the after school and the other things that I can be doing, as well as discovering the culture of Italy, being able maybe to travel. I mean, limited by the thing that I knew we were in a pandemic, but being able to discover a bit more the country, meet Italian people, make friends, have a social life there, and feeling like I'm being involved in the community of Faenza in general. So in this way, I consider that part of them has been fulfilled because I am kept busy by my activities, of course, but the things that I didn't expect and I'm so happy about it is that I could actually do more activities than the thing I planned for, and things that I were attracted to, like working with smaller kids in another context, because actually my schedule can be a bit flexible and I have the opportunity to choose some activities that I like. For the traveling, I couldn't do much for now because of the pandemic, but I mean, I had to. Something that as well was pleasantly surprised is I did another volunteering, like a short term in Greece this summer. The organization couldn't be less concerned about their volunteers. They were really I would say a bit careless about our situation, wasn't flexible at all. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that the organization really took care of us with personal meeting, try to keep track about our daily life here, to see if everything is going good in general. And for the Italian culture, same as restricted as it can be by the pandemic of not meeting new people for the social life part, I still had the opportunity to meet some people from here, with which I did podcasts. We could debate on things that I like, to get to know more about the society in Italy, and as well the flatmate of my mentor that was that is helping us to do workshop about cooking and everything, and really teaching us how we should respect their food and their food culture. And it's amazing because we learn a lot toward this, because we did some pasta. I mean, this is the true Italian experience, I think. Considering the thing I would have changed, I guess some people may say that it wasn't the best period to do volunteering, if you want to have this kind of travel part and everything. But if I think about it, actually I wouldn't have changed this decision to come at this period, because I can still work, I can still have my activities, and being in Italy during a pandemic and doing this project, for me this is the best thing I could do this year, because the pandemic is everywhere. It's not because I would have stayed back home that the pandemic would have been any different, and they say even worse considering the restriction. So first of all, I wouldn't change I would have chosen once again to come this year because at first I got to meet the people I'm currently with and everything. And like work related, I would say that in any work you sometimes have some responsibilities and some obligation toward the work. So there's something maybe I would do less, like communication wise, it's not my strong point, and but besides this, I mean, at least I'm learning about these things that I didn't, like I wouldn't work on generally. So I guess I wouldn't change much actually. For this experience that I have this year, for me, this is not the common idea we can have of a volunteer. Like it's not doing just the bad work and stuff. Yes, it can be the personality trait that it can imply would be just like the courage to go to another country for 1 year and like to be available to do this, to be mature enough to live on your own and all these things. But I don't see this project for me as needing all amount of generosity and selflessness. For me, it's like basically a job that I would like to do because it's as well bringing me a lot experience-wise. So for me, this is just a great opportunity. Because thanks to this, I could go to another country, work, do things I like, travel a bit. Like, for me, this doesn't require this kind of, as I said, like altruism that you can expect from a volunteer. For me, it's just a great opportunity, and it only requires to be courageous enough to tell yourself, I can do it. I can go to another country and try this. This is just a good opportunity for me. As for the general concept of being a volunteer, I think you have to be open-minded. This is the only thing you need. And to accept, like you have to take into account that you will not be able to save so much money, for example, because it's volunteering. You just are there to live the experience and to sustain yourself. But of course, economically wise, it's not the best. So people that are not willing to, that are too concerned about the money for doing your work, I don't think this is for those kind of person. But what I'm referring to as open-mindedness is, despite this status of being a volunteer and so don't have a large income, is as well that you can gain a lot. That from those kind of experience you can gain a lot because it's so important. Like, okay, yes, it's gratifying to help the community or things like this, of course, but you can learn on yourself. For me, for example, for volunteering in such a long period gives you an opportunity to grow because, like, you know, you're there to help, and there is not as well too much pressure on what you are like supposed to give out, because they do expect some results of your work, but they don't expect you to be brilliant, and there is no competition. You are just there to give your time, to try your best. But so this is the occasion and the opportunity for me, for people as well, to take a step back on their life and to be like, okay, I'm going to do something great for others, but as well for me, because I'm going to have time to reflect on what I want, what I am, and what I'm willing to do, my limits, or like those kind of personal growth things. So I guess this is it for me. Mostly volunteering can give you this kind of, I wouldn't say feedback, but this kind of energy back that you are doing something great. And for me, this is so nice to be able to see that you are doing something good and people being grateful for your work, and that is not something you owe them. solidarity in our modern society, like for the society I live in, like the European one, for example, I would say that it's not as present as it should be. As going through, for example, a pandemic, it totally breaks the solidarity between people, because like it starts to build fears towards one another, and for me there is not the solidarity it should be, because for me solidarity is one of like the most important thing to keep a society together as a group, as a united society. And I think towards the political field, solidarity can be very dangerous for them, because if you have people that are united, that show solidarity toward one another, I don't like. Of course, there can be big changes on this field, because you can't stop people that show solidarity, that show that they are a group, that they are united, and they are willing to fight for the same interests. Because as long as you have this notion of solidarity toward one another, you are going to wish for the best for the group you are in. So for me, it allows to have more common interest between the people, and I think, for example, governments would have to line with that, with the common interest of the people that are governing. So I think, yes, solidarity is a very powerful tool for people. I don't want to sound so stereotypical, but yes, youth is the future, because basically the youth in 30 years is the new people governing the world. Like it's just a fact. It's not me trying to do some kind of inspirational quotes, you know. So I think the problem is, I'm going to talk only about my opinion, for example, on the society and the place of youth, but it's only my regard. I know that, for example, in French politics, it's despite what we say, it's governed by not all people, but another generation that are ours, that what I consider youth. And the thing is, of course, they want to keep the power within their hands. So it's hard, like, to pass this towards the youth. The youth, depending on the country, depending on the society, can make changes. Because, but the problem is if we give them a voice. Because people that are like in their 20s protesting for something or trying to make big changes can be as well, how do you say, illegitimated by the fact that they are young, they are immature, they don't know the world, which can be true to some extent. But if in the countries we are willing to give a kind of proper education to our youth, if we have an informed youth that is willing to talk about what they want, for me they can be powerful in some extent. And we have to give them a voice, because we are the ones that are building the future for our generation, and we deserve to have this kind of voice. To be able to talk about our matters and what are like touching us in our daily life and what is important to us. For example, youth striking for climate, it's very important, because the older generation might not care, because they won't be there when the planet is dying, let's say, or in a very bad shape. So it's important to give them a voice and to know that those people are going to live in the future. They are going to live on this planet, for example, if it's environment-wise. but I'm not sure that we give them the place they should have sometimes, and that they are not really considered as important as they should be sometimes, because the parents kind of generation, sometimes they think they know better, and it's hard for the youth nowadays to be a bit spontaneous and to try to make significant changes on the politics, the society, and everything. But I'm pretty sure that things can evolve according to the youth that we have. If people start to, the youth between themselves start to talk about feminism, like women's rights, human rights in general, I think by spreading the word and educating one another and having those kind of debate where we can have this kind of free speech to be able to join the arguments, to make debates, to make people reflect on what kind of world we want for our future, I think things can change. And I can see that some things are evolving. They are evolving towards our generation, and I think it's thanks to those new generations that we can call youth. For this question, I'm going to believe in myself and to be very optimistic on where I want to be. Because I see myself in the future, and I'm making plans to reach this future, is I want to be a therapist for orphans or kids in general, people that need it, let's say. Because for me it's so important, the mental health wise and stuff. That's why after this volunteering, after I made my mind very clear about my willing to continue working with kids, to work on this youth, and to make them a nursery youth, let's say, I will think I will move to Scotland to achieve this, to do formation, to be able to have a certification to become a therapist, and then I can start my life according to that. Of course, we can never avoid some obstacles or some life crisis, of course. But my point is, I'm very motivated to do so, so I'm going to try my hardest to reach this. I might change my point of view in the way, but it's going to be okay. So I see myself being able to make this project come true, because it's very dear to my heart, and to be able to live a life where I can feel useful, where I can feel that I'm in a safe place in my life, but not safe because I have a nice salary and stuff, safe because this is where I want to be. And I know I will do my best to reach the place, my best to try to reach this moment of my life where I can say, God, I feel in where I want to be. And I think it's going to be in this way, but who knows? I think changing your views on life happens all the time, because we are in constant evolution. We can think one thing and the next day think something else, and it's totally okay, because we are constantly evolving. And for me, we have to let ourselves change our mind, and being able to say, I can change my mind, I can change my views on everything, and it's alright. This volunteering experience for me was significant in allowing me to do so, and to tell me it's okay to take time to reflect on stuff, because we should always take some time to rethink what we think we believe in, because we can firmly believe in something, but we have to take this time and this open-mindedness to be like, okay, am I still there in my life where those are my views? For me, this volunteer experience was really a way to not to make a break in my life or a pause or something, but to take this step back on my life and to acknowledge that yes, my views are evolving constantly, and to ask myself what is the person that you want to be. And when you know how to answer this question, I will work to make this happen, to be the best version of myself with the views that I have on myself, on the other people. And this as well is going to evolve. Maybe next year I will adjust what is for me being my better self, and it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine as well, because I know that I can do that. I can take this time for myself to try my best and to just seize the moment and take those kind of experience to reflect and to always try and be patient with myself enough to be like, okay, you are going to achieve at some point to be who you want to be, where you want to be. And this was for me so important this year, to acknowledge those stuff, acknowledge my direction in life.